Hey there folks, are you tired of hearing about the Social Security being in trouble? Well, buckle up because we're about to dive into a whole new level of retirement chaos. The US pension crisis. That's right, just when you thought your golden years were safe, it turns out your pension funds might be in jeopardy too. But don't worry, we're here to break down this complicated mess. So grab your reading glasses and retirement planning spreadsheets because it's about to get wild in the world of pensions. Let's get to it. To fully grasp the pension crisis, it's essential to understand how pension funds work. A pension fund is a retirement plan where an employer and employee make contributions towards a pool of funds set aside for employees' future benefits. These funds are invested in various assets such as stocks, bonds and real estate, with the goal of providing a stable income to the employee upon retirement. Now let's dive deeper into the crisis itself. The pension crisis in the US can be attributed to multiple factors, including years of underfunding, poor investment choices and changing demographics. Many state and local government pension funds have failed to meet their required annual contributions, leading to growing funding gaps. Additionally, low interest rates have made it challenging for these funds to generate returns on their investments, further exacerbating the funding shortfall. Finally, with an aging population and increasing life expectancy, pension funds are facing pressure to make payouts to a growing number of retirees for longer periods of time. The current crisis is particularly alarming because of the sheer scale of the underfunding. According to some estimates, US public pension funds are underfunded by as much as $4.1 trillion. This puts the retirement savings of millions of Americans at risk, and taxpayers may be forced to bear the burden of making up for these losses through increased taxes. Moreover, the recent stock market volatility has only made matters worse, as pension funds are heavily invested in equities that are therefore vulnerable to market fluctuations. Private equity firms play a significant role in the pension crisis as they manage a considerable portion of pension fund investments. These firms pool capital from multiple investors, including pension funds, to acquire and restructure companies. However, the lack of transparency in the valuation process of these acquired companies can lead to inflated asset values. Private equity firms often use what's known as the mark-to-market method to value their investments, which involves estimating the current market value of an asset based on hypothetical future cash flows. This method can be subjective and prone to manipulation, as the valuations are largely based on the firm's own assumptions and forecasts. This lack of transparency allows private equity firms to report inflated valuations to pension investors, which can make the pension funds appear healthier than they actually are. In turn, this could lead to pension funds taking on more risk or making additional investments in private equity, further exacerbating the pension crisis. In recent years, there has been increased scrutiny of the fees charged by private firms for managing pension fund investments. These fees can be substantial, eroding the overall returns generated by the pension funds. Moreover, there have been numerous reports of private equity firms engaging in questionable practices, such as charging excessive fees to boost their own profits or the expense of the pension funds they manage. This further highlights the need for greater oversight and regulation of the private equity industry to ensure that pension funds are invested and managed responsibly and transparently. The pension crisis has been fueled by multiple instances of misconduct by private equity firms. As we mentioned earlier, news outlets like CNN, Reuters and The Guardian have reported that these firms frequently inflate valuations when seeking new investments. But the issue goes beyond inflated valuations. Private equity firms have also been accused of charging excessive fees, engaging in conflicts of interest and exploiting legal loopholes to maximize their profits at the expense of pension funds. For example, a 2018 report by the American Fed of Teachers found that private equity firms charged US public pension funds an estimated $3.8 billion in fees in 2016 alone. This can significantly reduce the overall returns generated by the pension funds. In another example, a 2019 investigation by the Washington Post revealed that some private equity firms used a legal loophole known as the carry waiver to convert certain fees into capital gains, thereby reducing their tax liabilities. This practice, while legal, has been criticized as an example of how private equity firms prioritize their own profits over the interests of pension funds they manage. These instances of misconduct, combined with the massive losses faced by public pension funds in recent years, have led to growing calls for increased transparency and regulation of the private equity industry. The pension crisis has further been exacerbated by the recent tech bubble burst, which resulted in significant losses for pension funds heavily invested in tech sectors. Between December 22 and February 23, a staggering $220 billion was lost due to the decline of tech stocks. This sharp drop in the market has had a substantial impact on the overall funding levels of pension funds. The tech bubble burst can be traced back to a combination of factors, including overvaluation of tech stocks, rising interest rates, and concerns about growth. As tech companies' stock prices soared in the preceding years, many investors became increasingly concerned that these valuations were unsustainable. These losses have further strained the already underfunded public pension system, increasing the likelihood of a pension crisis. In an environment where pension funds are struggling to generate sufficient returns on their investments, the impact of a market downturn can be especially devastating. This highlights the need for pension funds to adopt more diversified and resilient investment strategies. Moreover, the tech bubble burst has brought attention to the practices of Wall Street pension fund managers who often profit regardless of the investment outcomes for pensioners. The pension crisis has far-reaching implications for millions of state and local employees who rely on these pension funds for their retirement security. For many state and local employees, this could mean facing significant cuts to their pension benefits, potentially pushing them closer to poverty during their retirement years. Furthermore, the pension crisis has broader implications for taxpayers and the overall economy. As pension funds seek to close their funding gaps, state and local governments may be forced to increase their taxes or redirect resources from other essential services such as education and infrastructure. Ultimately, the pension crisis serves as a stark reminder of the need for responsible fiscal management. As the pension crisis continues to unfold, it's essential to explore the potential solutions to protect the retirement savings of millions of Americans and ensure the long-term stability of public pension systems. And there you have it, folks. We've unraveled the tangled web of the US pension crisis, exposed the shady practices of private equity firms, and explored the consequences for state and local employees. Who knew retirement planning could be such a rollercoaster ride? But hey, at least now you're armed with the knowledge to navigate this pension minefield. So remember to diversify your investments, keep an eye on those sneaky private firms, and maybe stash some extra cash under your mattress. Thanks for joining us on this thrilling pension adventure. Stay savvy and keep planning for that dream retirement. We'll see you in the next one. Until then, peace.